Buddhism is one of the world's oldest and most respected spiritual traditions. It has inspired millions through meditation, mindfulness, and compassion. But like every tradition, certain beliefs have been misunderstood, exaggerated, or taken literally in ways that don't align with logic or reality. Today, we're diving into 12 foolish beliefs in Buddhism that make no sense. This video isn't about disrespecting the philosophy. It's about shedding light on misconceptions and showing you the difference between core Buddhist wisdom and cultural myths that have developed over time. Let's begin. One widespread belief is that if you behave poorly, you'll be reborn as an animal. While karma and rebirth are central ideas in Buddhism, the literal interpretation of coming back as a bug, bird, or cow doesn't hold much logical ground. Symbolically, it makes sense. Living with ignorance or anger might reduce the quality of one's next existence. But taken literally, this belief paints the universe as a kind of cosmic zoo run by moral policing. Buddhism, at its core, teaches that rebirth is about states of consciousness, not physical transformations into animals. When we view animal rebirth as a metaphor for living in ignorance or instinct-driven patterns, the teaching becomes practical. But thinking your bad day at work could land you as a squirrel in your next life? That stretches belief beyond reason. Many outsiders, and even some practicing Buddhists, treat Buddha as a divine being. Shrines filled with offerings, prayers, and rituals often make it appear that people are worshiping him in the same way one might worship a god. But Buddha himself rejected the idea of being a deity. He was a man who achieved enlightenment through discipline and self-realization, not divine intervention. Believing he is a god who can grant favors goes against the very heart of Buddhist philosophy, which emphasizes personal responsibility and awakening. Buddha didn't want followers to pray for miracles, but to practice meditation, mindfulness, and compassion to transform themselves. Treating him as a supernatural savior contradicts his teachings and turns Buddhism into something he actively warned against: blind devotion instead of conscious self-discovery. In several Buddhist cultures, especially in Southeast Asia, there's a strong belief in malevolent spirits or ghosts that can harm people unless rituals are performed. While these beliefs are more cultural than doctrinal, they've become tightly woven into Buddhism. The notion that restless spirits are constantly around you, causing bad luck or sickness, turns Buddhism into a fear-driven religion rather than a path of liberation. Buddha's original teachings encouraged awareness of the mind, not fear of invisible monsters. Believing in spirits as actual beings who meddle in daily life takes away from the empowering truth that your own mind is your greatest obstacle and your greatest tool for liberation. Focusing on imaginary ghosts distracts from the real demons, anger, greed, and ignorance, that Buddhism teaches us to overcome. One of the most misunderstood Buddhist teachings is about desire. Many people believe Buddhism demands the total elimination of desire, including the wish to love, create, or improve life. But taken literally, this belief makes no sense. Without desire, we wouldn't even seek enlightenment. What Buddhism actually teaches is the elimination of unhealthy craving, the attachments that cause suffering. Wanting food to live or art to express yourself is natural and not condemned. But clinging desperately to pleasure, possessions, or status is what chains the mind. When people misinterpret Buddhism as a call to destroy all desires, they turn it into nihilism, which contradicts its message of mindful joy. It's not about killing desire. It's about understanding which desires bring peace and which bring suffering. In some Buddhist sects, there's a belief that performing certain rituals, chanting mantras, or receiving blessings from a monk can lead to instant enlightenment. While rituals can be meaningful and create focus, believing they are magical shortcuts trivializes the discipline Buddhism requires. Enlightenment, according to Buddha, comes through deep meditation, ethical living, and wisdom, not from external ceremonies. The idea that one can bypass years of inner work through a single chant or blessing doesn't align with Buddhist logic. It's like believing you can get physically fit by watching someone else exercise. Rituals are symbolic tools, not substitutes for practice. The foolishness lies in expecting enlightenment as a gift rather than a process of transformation. True Buddhism is about inner responsibility, not spiritual handouts. Some traditions teach that enlightenment is so rare and difficult that it may take thousands of lifetimes to achieve. While patience is an important part of Buddhism, this belief can make enlightenment feel hopelessly out of reach. Buddha himself suggested that liberation could be realized in this very lifetime if one dedicates themselves to practice. Saying it requires endless reincarnations makes the path sound unattainable, which discourages many from trying. In truth, enlightenment isn't about stacking up lifetimes like credit points. It's about shifting awareness here and now. In some Buddhist communities, monks are seen as spiritually superior, while lay people are considered incapable of deep realization. But Buddha never claimed monks alone could reach enlightenment. He created the monastic order to help maintain discipline and provide guidance, not to establish a spiritual hierarchy. History shows many lay practitioners have reached profound states of awakening. Believing monks are the chosen ones while others are unworthy creates elitism and undermines the idea that enlightenment is accessible to all. One common belief is that every form of suffering, illness, poverty, accidents, is strictly the result of past karma. While karma is a teaching about cause and effect, blaming every hardship on bad karma ignores the complexity of life. Sometimes suffering is caused by natural forces, human decisions, or social systems, not just past life mistakes. This belief can lead to victim blaming, where people see others' struggles as deserved punishment. Buddha taught compassion, not judgment, and reducing suffering to simple karma oversimplifies the truth. There's a belief that meditation can only happen in stillness, silence, and isolation. While silence can help, Buddha also taught mindfulness in every action: walking, eating, speaking, or even working. Meditation isn't confined to a cave or a temple, it's a living practice. By thinking meditation requires perfect silence, people often avoid starting at all. True mindfulness can happen anywhere, in the middle of a crowded city, during daily chores, or even while listening to music. Limiting meditation to silence makes the practice less practical for real life. Some followers believe living in poverty automatically makes one spiritually pure, while wealth equals corruption. While simplicity is encouraged to avoid attachment, poverty itself doesn't guarantee wisdom or compassion. Buddha never glorified suffering. He left a life of extreme luxury, but also rejected self-denial. He called it the middle way. Believing poverty is wholly romanticizes struggle and ignores the reality that wealth, when used wisely, can support compassion, generosity, and growth. Poverty is not purity. Awareness is. Some interpret nirvana as a kind of self-destruction, where the individual is wiped out completely, like a flame extinguished. This literal interpretation sounds grim and frightening. But nirvana isn't about obliteration, it's about liberation. It means freedom from suffering, illusions, and attachments, not the erasure of one's being. Thinking nirvana equals non-existence makes the path sound depressing. The true teaching is about awakening to a state of clarity and peace, not vanishing into nothingness. Many believe that to be a true Buddhist, one must avoid all animal products. While compassion toward animals is central, Buddha never made vegetarianism a requirement. While chanting can focus the mind and invoke positive energy, it's not a magic formula. Without understanding, meditation, and ethical living, chanting becomes empty repetition. Buddha emphasized direct insight into the nature of reality, not blind recitation. Believing chanting alone leads to awakening turns practice into superstition instead of conscious transformation. Traveling to sacred Buddhist sites is meaningful, but believing the journey alone guarantees enlightenment or merit is misleading. Pilgrimages are symbolic acts of devotion and reflection, but transformation comes from inner work, not physical travel. Walking across mountains or visiting temples doesn't erase greed, anger, or ignorance. The foolish belief is thinking geography equals spirituality. True pilgrimage is inward, exploring your own consciousness. Some people believe enlightened beings gain supernatural powers, flying, reading minds, or controlling the elements. While certain scriptures mention extraordinary abilities, Buddha warned against chasing them. The focus of enlightenment is freedom from suffering, not magic tricks. Believing enlightenment equals superheroes feeds ego and fantasy instead of humility. Awakening is about wisdom and compassion, not becoming a spiritual superhero. Another foolish belief is that karma works like an immediate scoreboard. Do good today, get a reward tomorrow. Do bad today, face instant punishment. While karma does operate as cause and effect, it unfolds in complex, often subtle ways, not like a vending machine of morality. Believing in instant karma oversimplifies reality and turns spirituality into superstition. True karma is about the habits and patterns we create over time, not instant cosmic payback. In some traditional circles, there's a belief that women are spiritually inferior and cannot achieve full enlightenment without first being reborn as men. This sexist idea is completely at odds with Buddhist teachings. Buddha himself accepted women into the monastic community and recognized their ability to awaken. The belief that gender limits enlightenment is cultural bias, not Buddhist truth. Awakening is about consciousness, not gender. Some believe that by performing rituals, giving donations, or sponsoring monks, they can wash away past bad karma. While generosity is noble, karma isn't something that can be erased like chalk on a board. Actions always carry consequences, good or bad. Rituals can help cultivate mindfulness and compassion, but they don't magically undo harmful choices. Believing otherwise encourages people to avoid real accountability. Some Buddhists believe suffering should always be accepted without question, as if endurance itself is a virtue. But Buddha taught that the purpose of his path was to reduce suffering, not glorify it. While mindfulness helps us face pain with equanimity, it doesn't mean we shouldn't seek healing, justice, or improvement. Believing suffering must be endured passively leads to stagnation, not liberation. Many Buddhists believe in celestial realms where the devoted are rewarded with eternal bliss. While Buddhist texts describe heavenly states, they're symbolic representations of elevated consciousness, not permanent vacation spots in the sky. Believing in a literal heaven misses the point. Even divine realms are impermanent. Buddha emphasized liberation beyond all cycles of birth and death, not clinging to paradise. In many temples, offerings of incense, food, or money are made with the belief that they guarantee spiritual favor. While generosity is encouraged, offering material goods isn't a ticket to awakening. Buddha taught that the greatest offering is the practice of mindfulness and compassion. Thinking physical offerings buy enlightenment is a foolish distortion of the teaching. Some people think that enlightened beings feel nothing at all, like robots without emotion. But this isn't true. Buddha himself expressed compassion, kindness, and even grief. Enlightenment doesn't erase emotions, it transforms one's relationship with them. Instead of being controlled by anger or fear, an awakened person responds with wisdom and balance. Believing enlightenment equals emotional numbness makes the path sound cold and inhuman. Some interpretations of Buddhism treat the body as a dirty, temporary prison that must be escaped. This creates disdain for physical life. But Buddha taught mindfulness of the body as a key part of awakening. The body is not an enemy, it's a tool for practice. Seeing it only as a prison leads to detachment from reality instead of acceptance of the present. A foolish belief persists that only monks have the authority to teach or guide others in Buddhism. While monks preserve traditions, wisdom can arise in anyone through sincere practice. Many lay practitioners throughout history have made profound contributions to Buddhist understanding. Limiting teaching to monks discourages the spread of wisdom and silences valuable perspectives. Many believe enlightenment is like flipping a switch, sudden and permanent. While some traditions describe instant awakening, most agree it's a gradual unfolding. Insight deepens over time through continued practice. Believing it's a one-time event makes people impatient and disheartened when they don't experience instant transformation. Enlightenment is better understood as a process, not a destination. A common belief is that one must sit perfectly still in a lotus position for hours to meditate correctly. While posture can help, Buddha never demanded rigid forms. Meditation is about awareness, not flexibility. Forcing extreme postures often causes pain and discourages beginners. Believing meditation is only valid in a perfect lotus stance turns practice into physical torture instead of a path to peace. There's a misconception that once someone attains enlightenment, life becomes flawless, free from any challenge or difficulty. In truth, even awakened beings live in the human world with sickness, aging, and loss. Enlightenment changes one's relationship with suffering, but it doesn't remove life's realities. Believing that struggles disappear creates unrealistic expectations and disappointment. Some people approach Buddhism as if simply believing in Buddha or chanting his name is enough for liberation. But Buddhism has always emphasized personal effort. Blind faith without practice is just another form of attachment. Buddha urged followers to test teachings for themselves, not to accept them blindly. Believing faith alone saves you misses the essence of self-discovery. Many interpret karma as a divine judge handing out punishments and rewards. But karma is not a god, it's simply the law of cause and effect. Treating karma as a moral overseer creates fear-based spirituality. Instead of focusing on cultivating awareness, people become obsessed with cosmic scorekeeping. Buddha wanted people to understand responsibility, not fear judgment. Some believe that to achieve enlightenment, one must abandon family, friends, and community. While renunciation has been practiced by monks, Buddha also recognized the importance of compassion and relationships. True enlightenment doesn't demand cutting ties. It transforms how we engage with others. Believing one must be a hermit to awaken ignores the richness of practicing compassion in daily life. Another mistaken belief is that pleasure itself is evil, but Buddha never condemned natural joy. The problem lies in clinging to pleasure, not in experiencing it. Enjoying art, food, or companionship isn't against Buddhist teaching. Believing pleasure is sinful pushes people toward unnecessary guilt and denial, which is the opposite of balance. While some traditions emphasize sudden awakening, it's a mistake to assume enlightenment always happens instantly. For most, it's a gradual unfolding, like the dawn breaking slowly across the horizon. Expecting a lightning bolt transformation sets people up for disappointment. Progress comes through consistent practice, not a one-time miracle. Bells, prayer wheels, and statues are powerful symbols, but some believe they carry magical powers on their own. A prayer wheel spun without mindfulness is just metal turning. A statue of Buddha without understanding is just stone. The foolish belief is that objects replace inner work. True practice depends on consciousness, not artifacts. Some think that suffering is inherently spiritual, as if pain automatically makes you wise. Buddha didn't glorify suffering, he taught ways to transcend it. While suffering can be a teacher, wallowing in pain isn't enlightenment. Believing suffering itself is noble misses the point. The goal is liberation, not endless endurance. In some traditions, stories claim the Buddha had supernatural foresight of everyone's future. But the Buddha's teachings focus on present awareness, not fortune-telling. Believing he was a prophet distracts from his message of self-responsibility. The path is about shaping your life now, not waiting for predictions to unfold. This ethnocentric belief undermines the universality of Buddhism. Buddhist teachings are about the human condition, not race or culture. Enlightenment is accessible to anyone, regardless of background. Believing only certain ethnic groups can awaken is a cultural distortion, not a Buddhist truth. While Buddhism teaches that suffering can lead to insight, it's a mistake to believe it's the only way to grow. Joy, compassion, and mindfulness also lead to deep wisdom. Believing growth requires constant suffering creates a distorted view of life and ignores the value of positive experiences. Many interpret mindfulness as paying attention to the present moment and nothing else. While that's important, mindfulness also includes awareness of patterns, causes, and consequences. It's about seeing reality fully, not just being present in a shallow sense. Believing it's only about the now oversimplifies a profound teaching. There's a belief that awakened teachers never make mistakes. But enlightenment doesn't turn humans into perfect beings. It transforms their understanding of suffering and self. Mistakes still happen. Idolizing enlightened people as flawless creates cult-like devotion, which Buddha himself warned against. Some Buddhists believe that reciting scriptures, even without comprehension, generates spiritual power. While chanting can calm the mind, without understanding, it becomes empty repetition. Buddha encouraged wisdom, not parroting words. Believing recitation alone brings merit turns practice into superstition. A foolish belief is that awakening requires leaving the world behind completely. But enlightenment is about transforming how you live within the world, not abandoning it.